Now it's time for The Play is the Thing with Judy Sleed. Her guest today, Elaine Baumvoll, beautician, author, and artist. Now, with The Play is the Thing, here's your host, Judy Sleed.
Thank you. Thank you once again for The Play is the Thing. And I have a beautiful guest, Elaine. She's not only beautiful, but she's so talented. I'm almost jealous of her. She just wrote a book all by herself. I met you maybe a year ago, and you said you were writing a book, and it's all done and published. By the way, how are you?
Right now, I can't be any happier. Privileged to be here with you. It gives me courage and confidence to come here. I have a lot of guts, but I have a lot of backing and friends and somebody like you who brought over different books and left me a beautiful note a year ago to call you, and that's what I did.
Well, this is great. What's the name of that book?
Are you freaking nuts?
That's the name of your book. Are you freaking nuts? Oh, that should sell 1 million copies.
Yeah, it's an original. It's original. It just came from, I guess, all my experiences, and even though I've been doing hair for like 35 years, and it may sound like some people's stories that they told me, it isn't really them. It's really coming from my subconscious trials and tribulations of people not well, keeping somebody that had passed on alive in this book, who, when you have a best friend for 50-something years, it's a way of keeping somebody so close to you.
It is just amazing. So, how long did it take you to write it, actually?
It took me, with having it edited and having it published, writing it, it took me over a year. It actually probably took me longer to have it edited and published than it did for me to write it. I was taking care of an ill daughter in Brooklyn, and when she would take a nap, that's when I jot it down.
But without the editing, how long did it take you to actually write it?
Maybe 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah.
Probably could have been a lot sooner, but we have other activities in our lives, and sometimes the computer is down or the usual.
Yes.
So it took about 6 months. I'm on my second one now, and that's only been about 2 months.
Oh, you're
And
writing
I'm almost
another
finished.
one?
Yes,
Wow.
a continuation of this.
I see the continuation. Like, you mean, when you finish this book, you actually want to know more? Is that the way it goes?
Absolutely.
That's very interesting, because I'm sort of writing a book like you do. I mean, it's like years and years and years, and I sort of got stuck, and I thought I was going to write it like this and to be continued with another book.
Don't waste time.
It is very interesting. So you sold a lot of that already.
Actually, I ordered like 100, and since March, I have sold like 95 of them. So actually, people are coming in, and they read, like from Kindle, they read a little bit of a chapter, and they said, oh, I have to get it. But of course, they know me. And what they're coming back is giving me their input. And most of their input is, my God, I sound like I'm talking to you at that very moment. This is you. So it's a very sweet thing, the way I talk, and I make mistakes, and et cetera, et cetera. So.
Right. And when you say coming in, so people should know where they're going to come in.
Oh, to the lemon tree. That'll be in my next book. That's part of it.
Yeah.
That's part of it. All of my next book takes place, most of it in Long Island. That I moved
Because
from
that's
Brooklyn
how
to
I
Long
met
Island.
you, that my friend Joyce took me to your salon in Riverhead. And you started
right, because she
talking.
was telling me about working in the film industry. I
Oh,
think that's how it all came about. We were talking about Hollywood or where she lived at one time, so I think
Yeah.
that's how all, but I could keep on talking, that's what's maybe, but I do listen when I cut hair.
oh, yes, you
I'm a
must.
good psychologist,
Yes,
very
so
good.
how long have you been doing hair?
35 years.
Wow,
35 years. I used to do makeup in the hotels upstate in the Catskills.
you're kidding.
Yeah, I used to do that
Where in?
in the Pines Hotel. The
Yeah.
Pines Hotel, the Borscht Belt. My daughter was born there, upstate. One of my daughters. I have two daughters.
Oh, I remember I used to go upstate to those hotels for vacations. Oh, that,
It's wonderful. It's a
It's
wonderful way to get away.
yes, in those years it was really great. That was the in place. Yes, they had great food, great entertainment, and hairdressers, and games, and all those.
Oh, anything you wanted to do, card games. Um, they did so many different things. I guess they sold. My part was to make. This was my deal. I took the homeliest person out of the audience, and if I could make her good and look good, everybody bought.
And one of the funny things when you were sitting down at the dining room and your waiter was your future doctor. Oh, all the young men who went to school to be a doctor, they earned their money by being waiters. Where you from?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I was born and bred there.
Where?
In Brooklyn, New York, Midwood section of Brooklyn. I went to Midwood High. I still have my first grade friends. Most of them are in Florida, and we still speak. And we've had 3 years ago or 4 years ago, we had a 50th reunion.
And you went.
I didn't go because I was on a cruise with my kids. So unfortunately, that particular week, but I got all the information from them. And we still keep in touch now on Facebook, on the internet. So,
That's great.
I mean, it really came a long way, and it's so exciting. They're all over the world. One is in different part of the state, I think New Mexico. Another one is in England. Most of them are in Florida.
So how did you get your inspiration to write a book? Where did it come from?
Well, I'm a survivor 7 years ago, and I lived through so many things, and you kind of forget that kind of life. You know, it's still in you, all the medications and everything that they give you. And I had a daughter that was sick, and I unfortunately was not very happy about the care of the doctors that took care of her. That I think if I didn't step forward, she wouldn't have lived another week. And they over-medicated her on antibiotics. And she got worse and worse and worse. And then they gave her other medicine to help that, and it gave her psychosis. And I had to stay with her. So while I was watching her, so a lot of this, that's the input in there is all these FBI agents, all these doctors, they're rogue. They're not what they seem to be. And the weirdest thing is in my book, in my future book, I have one of these terrible murderers. They find him in a boat. And so everybody's going, oh my God, what happened in Boston? They found him in the boat. That's just like your book with all these rogue people.
Yeah.
So everybody's coming to me and saying, you said that. And my boyfriend said, don't tell me, I'm not going through that, because I become a psychic in the book. And I think all women have psychic premonitions.
So this book is sort of a mystery?
Oh, definitely, a twist of Nancy Drew has to move over because Liz Gordon has come in and has all of this taken over. She's twisted. Every 5 seconds, there isn't a peaceful moment in this book.
Oh my gosh.
It's so exciting for me
I have
even to read it
You like to read
again
it?
and again.
Oh,
I'm
really?
not so much. You gave me a few books that you said the way I spoke, I sounded like Ivanovich. And it's funny because I've spoken to her PR person, and he gave me little insight and little things, what to do, and it took her 5 years to become she became self-published, but to get off on her own and to get somebody to publish it for her, to buy it, it took her 5 years.
Oh,
So, it's not as easy as it appears to be,
it's not. No, absolutely not.
but it's a lot of fun. It just kept my girlfriend alive. When I finished this book, even though she's still alive in the book, I was so depressed. And that's why I said, I have to write it again. I have to keep on going. And her daughter just gave birth to a little girl and named after my girlfriend. And she didn't get to read it because she just had the baby, but her husband read it and said it was fabulous. It was just like my girlfriend. Everything. It's just, if anybody has a best friend, this is the type of book, because it keeps you going. And there's no gore. It's a PG. It's PG.
And your parents, were they in the arts?
Actually, I'm wearing a ring that belonged to my grandmother's sister, who was a poet, who the Times, and I'm going back over 100 years. This ring is like 115 years old.
Wow.
So they were all in that field, and they used to say to me, because I used to write home from camp, they said, boy, I said, I wish I could write like you. They said, well, you do. When you write home from camp, you make it so interesting, you should write it down, because your subconscious and your conscious, if you put them together, you'd be able to write.
So this ring belonged to your grandmother?
My grandmother's sister, who was 18 years older than my grandmother.
And she was a poet?
She was a poet.
Uh-huh.
Her last name was Bloom.
And this...
And they came from, a different country. She came from Romania.
Oh.
So, but second generation American.
And did she, this talent just kept going down
Yes,
generation?
yes.
You,
Actually, my mother went to Cooper, Cooper Union, that they have this whole big thing now for art. Cooper Union in the city on the Bowery. They used to have open enrollment and you didn't have to pay for tuition. And now they were just on the news yesterday that they have to charge tuition for the first time in maybe 100 years.
So this is from your mother's side?
Yes, my mother's.
What about your father's side?
My father was a watchmaker.
Oh my gosh, that's
and his father before him. So
it's a very intricate profession.
yes, I would love to.
I had a cousin who was a watchmaker.
Yeah, I don't even wear a watch.
And we were talking about upstate New York. My daughter lives upstate, and there in one little store there's a watchmaker. And every time I visit her, I go in there for something.
It's beautiful. Watches are very, where they have to fix it. My father was the head watchmaker in the Navy, World War II. And you had to be so precise.
Right.
Precise.
Yes.
So, and maybe I don't like time. Maybe that's why I don't wear a watch. I'm always on time because everything around you has a clock. But if I'm going out with somebody or whatever, don't look at your clock, don't look at your watch, don't look at your cell phone. I find it, I don't know.
It's easier that way if you don't get nervous about time.
That's exactly right. What's the difference? Take your time.
Yes, you're a little bit later, you're a little bit earlier, but you'll get there.
Well,
that's the important thing is to get there.
Very important.
And when did you have time for this beautiful art? I can't believe you did this.
Yes, that's actually my favorite. I did that, I think, in 1980 or 1979. This is 1980. These are originally taken from little photographs, maybe 3 inches by 2 inches. And you
sort of copy it?
I just loved it. I think in my blue mood, and then I did things dark, and then I did things light. I don't know. I think the mood, I think when I look at this, it makes me feel alive. It's so wonderful. It looks like the air is blowing in your face, and you're on a roof. I think they're probably on a boat top of a ship, these girls.
These are girls.
These are all girls.
Oh,
naked,
I see
naked.
Oh my God! I see this girl. I see her face and her hair.
And this,
Oh,
the
this
wind
one
is
is
blowing.
standing.
Yes.
But this one I don't see.
Yeah, the wind is blowing her hair right in front of her face.
Oh.
And here's her arm. It's just a very shadowy, just shadows. But the
So I
brilliance
can
of the,
just, all of a sudden, you just said, well, okay, I'm going to paint. And you
Yes.
went to the hardware store, you bought a gallon of paint, and you started
well,
splashing.
originally, these are oil, but I did change to acrylic. I'm doing one that I should have brought, but I keep on saying it's finished, but I know it's not. And I took it also from a picture, and I just love it. I keep it in my bedroom. I stare at it. I love it.
So you have a section in your home where
Every
you
place.
paint? But this is
Well,
my painting room, and this is my
It wasn't
writing room, and this is my salon. Do you have a bedroom where you sleep?
Yes, I do. And I have an extra bedroom for my little dog Zorro, and I have a little rescue Persian angel. So each one, the three of us live in a house together.
And this is not something you went to school for.
Actually, no.
This
No.
is you just took a brush. Did you do that with a brush?
Yes, a brush.
Do you have different size brushes?
Yeah, it depends. On this, I did so many years ago.
I mean, I just can't imagine that you did all this without starting the shadows, that it has depth. I don't see how you could do that without learning how to do it.
I think I'm very impatient. I don't even measure. So if I'm going to my house, and I had to redo my house when I moved there 25 years ago, I didn't measure the pieces for the furniture, but everything fits. Everything fits. I hang pictures, and maybe it's not the best thing that I do. I don't even measure it. I just hang it.
I mean, I'm especially impressed with that flower.
Yeah, I love that. That's my favorite.
Because when you see that line, maybe I could do that. The straight lines I could do, but that's about it. I couldn't paint anything else.
Oh, I was so happy-go-lucky then. I was very happy. Very
And this
happy-go-lucky then.
this is very imaginative. This really is.
Well, brightness, this is an actual photograph.
I know, but you had to copy it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
couldn't copy anything.
It's easier to take a photograph than to go outside and paint. When I moved here 25 years ago, my kids bought me an easel and all the equipment, and they said, okay, now you're out in the island. This is perfect scenery, because I'm where I live is like botanical gardens. I live in Bretton Woods, and we're in a golf community of like 4 miles of road. So we have trees, we have the golf course, we have tennis courts, we have everything there. The only thing we don't have is a riding stable, which I would have loved in my younger years. But it's so beautiful.
And what about the frame?
The frame, many years ago, I had it done. Actually, the frames probably cost more, maybe even more then.
Of course.
I mean, the frames, this small frame cost about $80 or $90, and if you go anywhere today, just to have a picture framed, it's so expensive.
So you went to a frame.
Yes, in
frames to-
Midwood section in Brooklyn, where they did it. You didn't have the Michaels and what you have today. You had a few places to have it done.
Well, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
It is beautiful.
And I enjoy it, and it's a
So-
piece of my life. And most of my paintings I did give as gifts, like to my aunts and my uncles and,
Well,
my parents and my grandparents. And
Yeah.
I have a picture that my kids had to grow up with. It's a Persian lady in a market, and she's naked from the top up, and it's over my fireplace. So my kids used to be totally embarrassed about it. And everybody's asked me, is that a self-portrait? I want to say, yeah, but it isn't. I never look like that. But I still have it. And I was offered money for it many years ago, and I just couldn't part with anything. But after a while, people taught you could make copies of these, and then you could sell them, and you still have the original, that's a terrific idea. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, I could bring myself back up because I've had many years of, you get tired. Tomorrow's another day. And being a Taurus like yourself, we go to sleep and then tomorrow we march on. That's what I've been told. So it's.
So you talked about your daughter. Are they talented like you in a way like you were?
Well, one does the hair and the lemon tree. She owns the lemon tree, and she's an artist. And she used to work for me. Now I work for her.
Oh.
So she was raised in it. Her daughter was raised in it. Her daughter goes to school for hairdressing in the high school itself, and she works at the beauty parlor. And she's going to college, and all of them are graduating. 2 of them are 18. The 14-year-old is graduating. The 13 is graduating, and there's a 4-year-old. So there's 5. And they all have their own expertise in things. My other daughter is she does math very well. She's an accountant. The city marshals for the city.
So she's counting the money you're making.
Yeah. I hope I will. I've been a mother since I'm 17.
Wow.
So I've always married a few times, and I'm a widow now. And it's very hard for people to ask for help. Some people know how to play the system, some people don't. I'm one of them that don't. Mm-hmm. And I just keep on trucking, and that's it. And I'm hoping that this could help me in my years, since I'm old already. I'm past that 65. So, hoping that I could still continue in the same way, work until I die, even if it's for 5 hours a week. I love it. I love the people, and we love each other. We really get along very well.
So this is the book here. There's a picture of it in the back. Who took this picture?
My ex-son-in-law.
Your ex-son-in-law?
My ex-son-in-law. We're still all friends.
Would you want to read the back of this,
Sure.
please?
Of course. Elaine Baumvoll, a born-to-live person and loves to try new experiences. Painting is her first passion. Elaine's new addiction is to write a suspense novel. From her own life experiences to fantasies her own mind dreams up, helped her write this murder mystery. A beautician for more than 35 years gave her the wisdom and knowledge you could never get from reading a book. If by chance her writing sounds familiar, don't worry, it's not you. It's just her wild imagination. Are You Freaking Nuts is a fast-reading suspense novel introducing Liz Gordon, a widow of 3 years, goes out on her first blind date, a first of many mistakes. She finds herself in the middle of a sadistic murderers club. Liz's best friend, Millie, stands by her side, and they both have to stay one step ahead of the killers. Who they are is a mystery. No one is above suspicion. They could be a politician, a doctor, or even the girl next door. Within the story comes some humor, which encourages Liz and Millie to meet their next challenge. Time is ticking away, and will they have enough time to see tomorrow's? Just keep in mind, this actually can happen to anyone.
Oh, that's great. And who wrote that?
Me.
You wrote this back
Yes.
too? Well, that's wonderful. That really is wonderful. And I was talking about, I like the way your hair is. You've been a hairdresser for many, many years. Do you ever go back for a refresher course so you learn new things?
No, I think when I was younger and since I was a shop owner for many years, they would send you to all these different places, all the name product places. And I'll tell you, I was very discouraged by it because half of the people came out crying. They wouldn't even go out on the stage after they cut their hair. They would cut your hair, these big high society products and places that people would spend $300, $400, $500 for a haircut.
Yeah.
And being there, seeing it firsthand, some of those people that were used as models wouldn't even come out because they cut their hair not anywhere where they wanted, nothing. I mean, you give yourself up when you do that. to anybody's own design. But these women, these young girls would come out hysterical crying. They wouldn't even come out. They'd hide in back of the curtain. So I'm thinking, who are they? You know, we learn when I'm working next to somebody that comes from another shop or came from another state, I learn from them. I pick up the little things from them as they picked up from me.
Because the hairdressers today is very different. Years ago, you used the hot curling iron and the teasing and
We
all
still
that.
do that.
And today it's mostly blow dry or even just.
They come in, like my kind of haircut, they just come in. I put the gel on it, and that's how they leave.
Yes, yes.
And that's all you do. But you do have people that come in, go underneath the dryer with their hair in curlers, and they're the most adorable ones, because those are the ones that think you can't hear what they're saying. They're under the dryer, and they're precious.
Yeah.
They're precious. They really are.
Right.
Mostly every patron that comes in mostly they don't take out your guts. Most of them are so
But
wonderful.
there's so many other things I would like to know about you, but the time is out, believe it or not. You've been a wonderful guest, and I want to thank you for coming and sharing yourself with us. And I would like to thank everybody who made this show possible, all my underwriters, like Taylor Cohn, Paul Brenner, Charlotte Sessa from the Seafood Market,
See?
and Timo Stein and the Flower Shop, my daughter Jody. They all, one time or another, contributed to this show. So I'm on 5 times a week out here in the East End. I even send my show to Manhattan. And, well, next week I have another wonderful guest. And thanks for tuning in. And as I said, I could have asked so many, because even your makeup is so beautiful, and your nails. And I don't know if you do that in the salon or you just do it yourself. Because I used to work in a beauty salon.
I could see you.
And one time or another, I used to do makeup and nails and facials and all those things I did.
Well, your skin is absolutely lovely.
Oh,
shines.
Thank you. Thank you. But there's one thing I could never draw. I mean, as I said, I could draw a straight line and that's it.
If you know how to draw any kind of line, you could paint. You could draw.
Well, I stick to writing.
But thank you so much. It's wonderful meeting you again.